Hello and good afternoon and welcome to today's Success Life Radio. My name is Eric Reed. I am your host and the coach for Success Life Coaching. I am so glad you're here. I want to talk today about building a growth environment. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Have you ever been in one? Are you trying to create one? So that's what we're going to talk about. So I encourage you to pull out your pens and papers and notebooks. I know I say this each and every time we're together, but some of us need a reminder. Remember that we're on a journey of success. We're trying to create change in our life, and we can either do it passively or we can do it intentionally. And by pulling out that notebook or that pen or that paper, or just sitting quietly and listening to this lesson makes you an intentional person. It makes you intentional about the growth that you're trying to achieve in your life or in your team or your companies. And I appreciate that. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get started.
You are listening to the Success Life Live with Eric G. Reed. Please take a minute and comment, subscribe, like, or follow our show. And to stay up to date on events and teaching, check out ericgreed.com.
So today's lesson is really about creating that growth environment or a growth mindset in yourself and in your team and in your company, in your family. Because if we're not growing, if we're not providing that opportunity for growth for ourselves or for others, then what's the point? I mean, honestly, what's the point? I sometimes get frustrated with my son because he'll say, I'm bored. You know how it is, 10-year-old boys. And I'll say, have you read every book in this house? And he'll be like, Dad, I'm like, there's so much opportunity for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to experience something different. How can you be bored? How can you be bored with all that there is in the world for us to learn and experience? And I know I'm speaking from the perspective of a dad to a son, but I think the same is true often for us as adults. We forget that we have to be intentional about our growth, that we have to create a growth environment for us, but also for our children, for our teammates, for our company, for our spouse, for those that are around us, because as leaders, we are influencers. And whether you like it or not, you're a leader. How you're influencing, well, that's a choice, positively or negatively. My goal is to create positive influence to both you and through you. So let's get started with a few basic principles about what a growth environment looks like and how to create it and how to influence others around you to live within that growth environment. So for me, a growth environment, first and foremost, is a place where others are ahead of me. Now, my dad used to say, do you want to be the big fish in the little pond or the little fish in the big pond? And instinctively as a kid, I would say I want to be the big fish in the little fish pond. And what I've realized over time is that's just a really boring place to be. You know, it's okay to hang out there for a while, to get the recognition, to get the accolades, to be seen as the big fish. But in order for me to grow, in order for me to be challenged, in order for me to become bigger and better, I need to be the little fish in the big pond. And yeah, you know, when you're the little fish in the big pond, sometimes you get nudged out. Sometimes you get chased. Sometimes it's not the happiest place to be. But you get to see the potential of what you can become. You can look at those people around you and say, you know what? They really don't have anything that I don't have. I just need to figure out how they got to be big fish, so to speak. And so by being in a place where others are ahead of me, where others are growing and doing and experiencing more than me, it pulls me into more of me, so to speak. So seek time to spend among those big fish people. One thing I've learned through the course of my life is if you approach those people that you perceive to be big fish, mentors, etc., and you ask them openly and honestly, like, look, I see what you're doing. I see what you've achieved. I know what you've accomplished. I've read your resume, seen your bio, whatever it is. And I really want to learn from you. I really want to lean into you and learn. They will open up opportunities for you. They will create the space for you to grow into. It's amazing that the amount of energy big fish people will invest in little fish people, because they know how exciting it is to grow. They're constantly searching for growth opportunities, and by giving back is one of those opportunities that they have. So never be afraid to go up to somebody and say, I see what you did. I'd love to understand your process, your system, your mindset, the journey. Now, one of the big turnoffs is I see what you have and I want what you have. Because more often than not, they're not in it for what they have. They've been in it for what the journey is, and the things around them are just byproducts. All right? So hang out. Number one, be in a place where others are ahead of you. Number two is be in a place that's continually challenging you. And what I mean by that is we tend to hang out with people that think we're doing great, that'll look and go, yeah, I've seen your business. I've seen what you've accomplished. You're doing really good. And we can sometimes become complacent with that laurel around our neck sort of thing, that everything is so good, we shouldn't mess it up. If you're not being challenged, you're not testing your systems. You're not testing your beliefs. You're not testing your character. And an object that isn't in motion is really in motion. It's a degrading and declining motion. That idea that I can just hold this position and everything will be fine is false, because that position is slipping away to those who are challenging themselves, who are in environments where they're being challenged. So for you to just stay even, sometimes you got to be in an environment that's challenging you to hold the line of what you got and to grow that line. Number three is be in a place where the focus is forward. And what I mean is that there's conversation that talks about where we're going, what we can create, what the future looks like. Not that moaning and groaning about yesterday and the past, and you don't understand where I came from, if only you knew who I was, and all of that. Sometimes it's interesting because there's two kinds of inspirational speakers. The ones that talk about where they're at and where they're going, and then the ones that talk about where they're at, where they were at, and now where they're at. That's sort of like I was a poor kid in the neighborhood and I never had enough, and now look at me, I have this. That's okay. That's fine. The people that I listen to, the people that I dive into, the people that are of growth talk about, I was here and this is where I'm going. They see that they still have growth in them. They have potential. They have opportunities. And they might talk about where they're at right now, but they're speaking in forward language. They're speaking about the direction that they want to go. Number four is be in an atmosphere or create an atmosphere that is affirming. There's enough negativity in the world. There's enough people willing to shoot down an idea before it even launches. Avoid that area. Just, tune it out, turn it off, let it go. It's going to be there if you want it. Just turn on the news and it'll happen for you. I need to be in an environment that's affirming. And I don't mean the happy sunshine, unicorn, cotton candy kind of place, but somebody that says, you know what, I believe you can do this. Or if you study this, I believe you'll be able to achieve this. Or you could have it, but you got it. That they're telling me it's within my abilities, that I am worthy of what it is that I want, and that success is mine to be had, and I just need to go get it. I don't need people telling me I can't do it because of my age or my gender or my race or my social economic background or my physical fitness level or whatever it is. Those aren't growth-minded people. Why do we find those inspirational stories of the amputee who ran in the Olympics? Because they affirmed, they were speaking affirmations into us that anything is possible, regardless of the handicap. Number five is be in a place that you wake up excited to be in the company of. I mean, if you go into work on Monday morning and you're not excited about what the new idea is, what the project ahead is, how your coworkers spent their weekend, the people you're engaging with, you're not going to grow. You're not going to thrive. I have been fortunate enough to be in both kind of environments. Literally the one where you're sitting in the parking lot, looking at people's cars, hoping certain people called in sick so you don't have to deal with them. Come on. I am not the only person that's done that. And then they pull in and you're like, shh, man, I was hoping they were out today. I really didn't want to deal with them. And then I have been in offices where there's a race into the office so that we can all get together and create and build and be energetic and share. And it's a popcorn popper of excitement. Now, not every single day was like that. Not every single project was like that. But overall, we knew that we were working hard and having fun, and we were excited to be together, not only as a team and as a community, but that translates to my family, and that translates to the clients that I work with or the people I hang out with in my free time. I want to be excited by the people and the things that I'm doing. I've got a limited number of days left on this planet. Why waste them being miserable? You know, I say this, my son is 10, my daughter is 9. I've got 8 years left with my son before he's legally 18 and he can tell me he doesn't want to come home for Christmas kind of thing. And my daughter, you know, I've got like 10 years, but because she's my daughter, I'm going to lock her up and keep her in the house. 10 Christmases. 10 Christmases. That's like really all I've got left. Do I want to waste them being miserable and not excited? Do I want to waste them in the company of people that bring me down instead of people that lift me up? Same thing goes for my work week and my social life. I want to be around people that excite me with their ideas and their energy and their passion and their conversations. Number 6, that be in a place where failure isn't an enemy. Now, I used to have this boss that would say failure isn't an option. And I understood what she meant internally, but externally what she was sending the message is, if you fail, you will be noticed and we will string you up, so to speak. Like, I don't care what it takes. If you have to break every bone in your body and work 40 hours in a day and da-da-da-da-da, failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. Like, you will bleed to death before you fail. And I admired her ability to get things done and to persevere and to never accept defeat and always move forward. But failure has to be an option in the process of growing and learning and transforming as an individual, as a team, as a company. Getting stranded in that failure should not be an option. Accepting failure is the solution is not the option. But failure has to be okay. It can't be the enemy. It has to be like, okay, so what did you learn? What did you learn? How can we implement that failure into the next model of success? Failure can no longer be the enemy in your mindset and in your teams and in your company and those people you hang out with. If they're like, yeah, so what? I failed 100 times. And they see it as part of the process. That's the environment. That's a growth environment you want to lean into. And number 7 in my list is really a place where others are growing. I want to be in a place where we celebrate each other's growth, where we celebrate each other's success, where we take time out and say, man, I noticed that this happened. I noticed that happened. Way to go. I'm noticing your growth. I'm encouraging and I'm affirming your growth, but I'm seeing your growth, and your growth isn't stagnant. So understand that in order to create a growth environment or an environment where growth is happening, it's got to be intentional. You can't just assume that everybody is going to grow. You know, we're not trees. We don't just show up every day and grow. We're human beings. We tend to get stuck. We tend to have belief systems that limit our thinking and our growth. And if you want to be the leader of influence, if you want to use your leadership influence in a positive way, that creates growth for yourself and growth for others, then adopt these like 7 little growth hacks. And I'll go over them one time real quick. And don't worry, I'll put them down in the show notes so you can read up on them. Make sure you do so. And by the way, when you're over there in the show notes, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, leave a like, share it out. Do the things that you do so that I know that you're getting it. All right? So number 1 was be in a place where others are ahead of me. Number 2, a place where I'm continually challenged, or create an atmosphere of challenge and make it a positive challenge. Don't make it like, you got to be able to run the 3-minute mile kind of challenge. Be in a place that is focused, language focused, and vision focused forward. Create an atmosphere that is affirming. Be in a place where people are excited to be part of it, no matter how hard the work is. Let them feel the sense of excitement. I mean, we've all done that. We've all pitched in on a volunteer project where we were really working hard, for free. And yet we were excited because of the overriding mission that we were a part of. Be in a place where failure isn't the enemy. I worked with companies where we would set up Failure Friday, where everybody had to bring to the table one failure that happened during the week and one lesson or, thing that they learned from that failure and how they were implementing it into the next level of their success. Be in a place where others are growing and others are celebrating each other's growth. But overall, be intentional about your growth. One of the plans that I set up, and there's typically 7 plans that I work with clients on, one of them is a personal growth plan. What is your plan to grow? And then how are you implementing it? And what is your strategy around it? And what resources do you need? So understand, growth doesn't just happen. It requires some intentionality, and that you can be in charge not only of your growth, but of the people around you's growth and the influence you have over them. So I hope you found this lesson useful. Again, my goal is to help you have the tools you need to be a success, to enjoy your journey of success, because you are worthy of the success you seek. So until we get together next week, go out and live your life with success. You are worthy of it, my friend. So worthy.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Success Life Live with your host, Eric G. Reed. Remember to stay connected with us at ericgreed.com for updates on events and teaching. Till next time, go out and live your life of success.